Well, they have what's called the duck tours in Galveston. They can go, it drives on the street and in the water. All right, I'm here with
George.
George, and how long have you been doing these duck tours?
This is actually my first day on the job right now.
First day on the job?
Correct.
Oh no, and we're going in the ocean with this thing?
Actually, we're going to take you into the bayou, which is part of the bay. We can't take you out on the beach water. Unfortunately, Coast Guard won't let us. You got it, thanks a lot. Sure. For the island, we'll be covering 15 miles of Galveston before bringing you back to the seawall. As we get started, I would like to welcome you to the island. For those of you visitors for the first time, I always like to welcome back our repeat visitors. Now, since this is the first tour of the day, we're going to have to let the duck warm up real quick, like. As we wait for the traffic also to let us in on this seawall boulevard, I would like to point out that the island is still 32 miles in length and only 2 miles at its widest point. Galveston Island is a barrier island, one of many that make up the Texas Gulf Coast. Now, in order for us to start the tour, we have to point west on the seawall that's behind us. Once traffic permits, we'll make a turnaround and then we'll head out to 61st Street's Offense Bayou. That's where we enter the water. As we get moving, I do need to point out anybody on board wearing a hat, cap, or visor, please secure it, hold on to it tightly. We do not stop for hat overboard procedures, just a heads up on the hats. As we take you around the city, you may be quacked at, you may be waved at. If you care to quack back, you go right ahead. Unlike other duck companies around the nation, we don't make you quack on command, it's up to you. There you go. Now, the city of Galveston, as you may have noticed, has rebuilt mostly since the hurricane of 2008, known as Ike. Coming up, though, as we start the tour here on the seawall, this is the flagship hotel. Now, last year we were telling people, because, well, the information that we got was that they were going to start rebuilding this last year. Now they're doing the same thing this year, but they've actually put up a sign today that says truck crossing. So it looks like they're going to start moving some of the debris out there. They do plan to redo this pier here at the end of 25th Street. Now, the flagship originally built in 1965. At one time, it was a four-star hotel. Good one. Now, today, the flagship, though, as you can see, it's falling apart. Part of the wall came crashing down, and the ramp also collapsed. Hopefully, they'll start doing something to the flagship. We definitely need something around this part of the island. Left-hand side, we have a barge that's headed out to the 61st Street rock groin. This barge is building up the pier that will be rebuilt by the summer. The fishing pier was destroyed by Ike, but it looks like they may have it open sometime later on this year. Anyway, the crane that they have on board the barge is the main machinery that they use to drive down the pilings as they built this pier again. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself as we take a drive here on the Seawall Boulevard. You do have the Gulf of Mexico on the left-hand side. This is the 9th largest body of water in the world. If you care to go swim here in the Gulf, please keep in mind that you're not supposed to swim within 100 feet of these rock structures. Now, just up ahead is finally 61st Street. When we get to that next slide, that's going to take us towards Offense Bayou, which is where we enter the water. Now, just before we started the tour, somebody asked us if we were going to go into the Gulf. Now, even though these vehicles were built for beach landings, that's what the military used them for, the Coast Guard won't let us out there. We're regulated by Coast Guard, and once again, we cannot take passengers out into the Gulf. Now, if we were to load all our friends on board, we could do that, but we'd have to go out to the west end of the island, out there somewhere past the state park area. You'll also find a lot of these cemeteries. Now, the fact remains well over 100,000 immigrants came into the nation to the port. Galveston at one time was known as the Ellis Island of the West, known by the name only because it was second to immigration to Ellis Island located on the East Coast. It wasn't until the Cuban Missile Crisis, that's when Galveston was shut down as a point of entry and was then never reopened, even after the crisis was resolved. Now, to get good records, if you care for this, you have access to a computerized database at the Seaport Museum. And with the purchase of a ticket, you can type in your last name into the computer, find out if any of your ancestors came into the island. Now, this arch, by the way, is covered in light bulbs, lit up year-round. It's lit up in the nighttime, is what I meant to say. Go right ahead. Okay, we'll do it. It's the slowest moving object on the island, so we're going to take it. Quack, quack! Look at this, now we'll be rich! Nice hotel, that's to the right, that's the Tremont House, said to be the finest hotel Okay, like historic downtown area. Now this street we're about to turn on, get ready to unleash your inner quack if you need to, but this street is actually known as the Strand, at one time known as the Wall Street of the South. It was a major financial district that was located along between New Orleans and San Francisco. Many of the old buildings that we pass here on the Strand, at one time they were used as banks. Now this coming up is the mock trolley. If you've been looking for the trolley, well, the real trolleys that run on the steel rails, they rusted up after the storm. Salt water got inside the trolley barn, as they call it. But anyway, if you care to ride this, this is public transportation provided by the city. It's the second best thing to the trolley since we don't have a run-in. On the right-hand side, though, you have King's Confectionery. Find a well-stocked ice cream parlor there. They also make saltwater taffy, hard candies, chocolate. On the left, this is Yaya's Cafe, a restaurant with an outdoor patio that faces the Sangerfest Park area. The chessboard at the park is provided free by the city, so you can play chess or pretend to play chess at no charge there on the left.
Quack, quack!
As you may have noticed, open containers, they are tolerated down here. This is, after all, where we celebrate Mardi Gras. If you're walking around town with an open beverage, though, make sure it's not glass up on the beach, because that can be a very heavy fine. And that's for obvious safety reasons. Down here, though, as I said, open containers, not a problem.
Yeah.